What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the 312 podcast. Now, this episode is a solo episode because you were actually on vacation. You have a co-host. You guys can kind of sub in and out for each other.
Yeah.
I was a little jelly, but we're here for we're here with you guys to announce a very exciting giveaway just in time for the holidays. We want to thank everybody who's been supporting us since day one. So, our friends at Good Molecules have a little bit of a surprise for 3 lucky individuals.
Nice little on-the-time gift.
Have you heard about Good Molecules before this?
Before this?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely not.
Look at that. Do you have a skincare regimen?
I do.
You might want to use some of the products. I'm going to put you in tune on it when we get to the sitting off to the side. But anywho.
You definitely can tell her.
Good Molecules is a skincare company, and they have products that make a difference for your skin that is backed by science. Very important. None of the bullshit. None of the, super alcohol-filled contents. Everything is backed.
The diluted stuff. Yeah.
Everything is backed by science, which is great. And they also make it safe for you and safe for the planet. So recyclable things and, things of that nature. And low prices, which is extremely important. Skincare can be very expensive. So they make it. And if you go to their website and look at their products, a lot of their stuff is pretty affordable.
You ain't got to break the bank to have good skin.
That's why I like them. I use the eye gel because I have poofiness under my eyes. I never get to sleep. I'm anemic.
Poofy.
Yeah, they're always poofy. So we're excited to be hosting this giveaway. It will be going on all weekend, and we will be announcing 3 winners come this Wednesday. So you want to give them the details of the giveaway?
The rules are as follows,
just 3
ladies
rules.
and gentlemen. Very simple. Very, very simple. 1, you have to follow the 312 podcast and follow Good Molecules now. You need both of those about you. Then you got to tag 3 friends in the comments on whatever platform you use. So YouTube, Instagram, Snap, Twitter, or X.
Oh, my God,
we
X.
got to call you. We just changing our whole childhood, but that's all right. And then number 3, share it to your story. And then November 29th, we'll pick 3 winners. So it's a perfect gift for the holidays.
And it'll come in a box like this. So this is the cool little box that they sent us. It has some other details and information for you guys. But in here we have the daily moisturizer, exfoliating powder, because we love to exfoliate, okay? If you are real good on your skincare, you must exfoliate. You got to. Number 1, brightening toner, a discoloration serum. So if you have any problems with your skin, pigmentation, different patches, stuff like that, that'll help you with it. And then my favorite here, which is the one that I actually use, which is the Wake Up Eye Gel. So it's good for poofiness, energizing your face. You say what?
What if you're going to sleep? You can't use Wake Up Eye Gel to go to sleep, right? I'm just asking. Just questions and answers.
I use it in the morning, but I don't know. I never really use it at night. Maybe that's why they call it Wake Up Gel. But anywho, if you would like to receive this bundle, go ahead and follow those rules. And yeah, we'll be picking a winner next Wednesday. That word.
November 29th.
That word messes me up, y'all. Next Wednesday, November 29th, we'll be picking 3 winners. And yeah, we'll see you. We'll see if it's you. It could be you. Share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Could be you.
Until next time. Bye. Before you all were married, were there any red flags that you ignored?
Girl.
Did the red flags look like roller coasters that you were just I'm gonna ride this ride, honey? I'm tall enough. I'm gonna go. It looks scary, but I'm still gonna fucking do it. Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah. What's up, you guys? Welcome to the 312 podcast. I am your host, Ashley Diana, a girl from Chicago creating spaces for millennials to have wholesome conversations that are real, they're raw, and they're relatable. We laugh a lot, we cuss a little bit, and we promise you're going to learn something about yourself when it's all said and done. Don't be shy. This is a safe space. So, what's the 312? Welcome back, you guys, to another episode of the 312 podcast. I am your host, the Ashley Diana. If you're just joining, as always, make sure after this episode you put your running shoes on, lace them up, and go catch up to the other episodes and content that we have for you. And if you've been here since day one, as always, I love you, thank you, and let's get it. My co-host isn't here today. Jealous enough, he is having a good time in New York, so whatever, we let him have the day off. But I have a wonderful guest with me here today.
Hello.
It's my girl Berenice.
Hey.
Welcome. She is a wonderful wellness and business coach, and she's also a mother of two.
Yes.
And a whole host of other credentials behind that as a mother. But welcome to the 312 podcast, girl.
Thank you. Happy and honored to be here.
I'm happy
Very,
that
very
you're
happy.
here.
Yeah.
How was your ride here? I always ask people because it's everybody's answer is different.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. You know, I don't mind driving. It's something that, you know, it was fun. We made it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has a friend in the back, so
Yeah.
it's always good to bring somebody along with you on the
Yeah.
drive because I don't like driving at all. Like I don't. If it's more than 20 minutes, I'm like, ugh, it's a road trip. And for me in traffic, it could probably take us an hour to get here. It's always an hour.
You know
to
what?
get somewhere.
I think I enjoy it now more because after babies, when they're not in the car with me, that I have I have a
true.
whole concert.
That's true. Even when they're in the car with me, I'm still like, and my mom's like, "Mommy, can you turn it down?" I'm like, "No." But that's good. That's a good point too. Like that's like an escape in a
Yes.
sense. 'Cause
Yeah.
when I take drives, again, if it's 20 minutes or less, I'm happy. But even in those times, it's like, okay, I don't have the kids with me. I'm playing what I want to play. I'm gonna stop somewhere. Like the sun is shining. I got the sunroof open. Whatever. So, well, welcome. I'm glad
Thank
you're
you.
here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we start with our, not a cocktail, but we have a rosé.
Yes.
And ew, these are, it has the stems on the blueberries. Y'all know I'm picky. But cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to the 312. I'm excited about
Thank
this
you.
episode.
Me too.
And it's going to be a great conversation.
It's gonna be spicy.
But before we start, I wanted to do like a quick little icebreaker to kind of lighten the mood up and get them to kind of know you a little bit too. So rapid fire is just literally like question after question, back to back. First thing that comes to your mind. Don't think
Love
too
it.
much.
Love it. Love it.
So we're going to start diving into it. Talking or texting?
Talking.
Really? Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Ooh. Your first celebrity crush? what was it?
Denzel Washington.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I mean, look at him though, obviously. What was the movie that you saw that you were like, oh my God?
Oh man. I can't remember the name of the movie. I was not looking at the name of the movie.
You said I was looking at him. Mine was, I remember I used to watch Saved by the Bell a lot. People are probably gonna like clown me for this shit, but what was the guy's? Slater.
Oh.
I don't know what it was. Like he just had like big arms. He was like a jock, and I was just like, oh my God, I love him.
I can see why. Yeah.
So that was my my young crush. Favorite type of tea or coffee or tea actually. Coffee. Favorite. Do you like them like super sweet, like a frappuccino, or like black? That's what you call it, right?
In between.
Okay.
In between. I like in between. Yeah.
Big dogs or small dogs?
Big dogs.
Ooh. Do you have a dog?
No, not anymore.
No?
I used to have 4.
4?
Yes.
And kids?
No babies.
Oh, they weren't there. Okay.
Those were my babies.
Oh, they were? Well, I mean, makes sense. Were they all big?
Yes.
Big dogs?
No, too big, too small.
So that has to be a chaotic household.
Very. Yes, very.
So if you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would that be?
Like one type of food or one?
I will say like one, because the type is probably a little easier than like the actual food itself. Like what specific food, whether it be pizza, like hot dogs, whatever food you can eat all day, every day.
This is going to sound super Mexican, but guacamole.
Oh, I can see that too. And it's filling and it's good.
Yes, so good. Love it.
I didn't think about asking myself that question. Damn, what would I eat? Or are you looking at, you know the answer? My word for what is it? Tacos? Yeah.
Hey.
I was going to say like any type of like pasta. too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they get tired of pasta. I make like 3-4 times out the week. I'm like, let's have a shrimp pasta. And I like learn how to make my sauce from scratch.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's
you
like
cook.
Oh no, I cook. I cook. I actually don't like to cook. Funny, but when you have to cook, you know, when you have kids, like when you have to cook out of necessity, like it's not always fun anymore. It's like, damn, I gotta make this food for 4 people. I don't want to, but you know, hey, here we are. What is your ideal temperature outside? Like, what are you, a fall baby, winter, summer?
I'm a summer baby.
Ooh.
And yes, I love summer. Summer is like...
When's your birthday?
July 9th.
Oh, so you're a Cancer.
Yes.
He's July 18th. I love Cancer. See, that's what it was. I love this. I'm trying to think what's another really good one. Oh, they got some difficult questions on here. Like, why? Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark.
Ooh, dark chocolate.
It's a lot healthier.
It's just too rich for me. Like, I like milk chocolate. I'm sure because it's not.
I like rich.
He said, I like rich. Give me rich, whatever. Rich report. Ooh, would you a 9-to-5er or entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur.
Okay, hey, I understand that. But also, I will say, playing devil's advocate, and me and my friend had a conversation about this, and she got so much slack for it. I actually need to get her on here. And she was like, both her and her husband are entrepreneurs, and were. She retired him. Like, when she got to a point where she was, like, making the money she needs to, she retired her husband. What? Oh, I thought he was signaling me. She retired her husband and like get so much slack for it. It was like, oh, I could never do that, blah, blah, blah. But she's like, you don't realize when you have 2 entrepreneurs in the household, like there's no consistent income.
It's a lot.
She was just like, and if I can just have the security of knowing he's at home with the kids, she's like, all that status shit goes out the window. She's like, I don't care.
And you know what? I have absolutely nothing against a 9-to-5.
Yeah.
That for me is very important for so many reasons. One, because that will, if you are either a starting entrepreneur or you are on your way there or you're already there and your business is struggling and you have the skills and the capacity, the time to be able to have a 9-to-5 to fund your business, why not? You know, but for me, like my preference obviously would be that because of the freedom that it brings once you are established.
Yeah, once you're established, that's the good point. And I feel like a lot of people just like jump the gun or take a leap of faith, but there's nothing wrong with it, right? But I will say, like, although I've been an entrepreneur since 2014, 2015, I've always had a side hustle. I've been building multiple businesses. Like, up until like last year, I've always had a full-time job. Always, like, because I'm like, it's much easier, and it's, I guess in a sense, like the easier way out because it's like I have a consistent income, so much so that like I can focus on the important aspects of my business because I'm not like leaning on it as my primary source of income.
You don't have to worry about your balance sheet.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, okay, cool, shit's not looking good on the business side, but like I have this consistent paycheck and I can continue to feed into the business. But I will say that shit was like, it's a lot.
It's not for everybody.
It's a lot. But I definitely would always tell people, like, if you're going to go the entrepreneur route, just make sure that you have either you set aside funds for ideally the whole year, but at least like 6 to 7 months of your like
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Your expenses, your bills and all that. And then like take 4 or 5 months to like go crazy, focus on your business. And like, it's just going to happen. You're going to get it to where it needs to be. So. Yeah. Anywho, we got all off the icebreaker, but whatever. So to start, for those who, of course, don't know you, give us a little bit of an introduction of who Berenice is. We'll start there.
So I am 39 years old.
Berenice, you're not 39.
Yes.
No fucking way. Hey. Okay. We're going to get a skin regimen after this. Yes. Because you look good, girl.
Thank you. 39, 2 boys, 2 and 3 years old. Well, my oldest is going to be 4 in November, this month.
When's his birthday?
The 13th.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah.
Ooh, you got a Scorpio, girl.
Yes. Very passionate.
Yeah.
With everything, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
He's a whole 4-year-old with a 35-year-old attitude.
Yep.
I love it.
Sounds about right.
And I used to be very much into like the corporate world. So I was corporate consulting for almost 10 years.
Oh wow. That's a good field to be in.
It was great until it was not.
Yeah.
It was great until it was not. And that in 2020, everything changed for me. My perspective on being in the business world, being in the corporate world, and really around who my surroundings.
Yeah.
The people who I was working with and working for. And that then, transitioned. That's when I like to say, my awakening happened.
Okay. You said this was 2020?
Yeah.
A lot of shit happened for people in 2020, I
Yes.
swear.
Yeah.
That pandemic did some good things for me.
Yes.
It did.
It was as chaotic as the times were and still are sometimes. I'm very grateful that everything went down the way that it did.
Yeah.
Because it really showed me and taught me much appreciation and love for life itself. And I had just had my baby.
Yeah.
He was a couple months old when everything happened. And I was really looking for a way to spend more time with him. Because obviously in the business world that I was in, it was great. Money was great. But it was a lot of time. I felt like I had no freedom whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I started diving deep into what was going to be next, right? And really going into my spirituality. So I'm a very, very spiritual person. I hold on greatly to my faith, but
So would you say there's a big, and not to cut you off, because I hear people, like some people say I'm very religious, some people say I'm very spiritual. Do you think that there's a big difference there?
Very much.
Yeah.
Because there's a big gap. I want to say nothing against people
absolutely.
who are religious are not spiritual.
Yeah.
In a way, right?
I don't feel like there's a they're the same.
No, it's
I
not.
don't think so.
It's not. And I grew up in a very hardcore Catholic household. And a lot of the things that I practice now, a lot of things that I do and that are part of my life and have made me into who I am today were very big no-nos.
Oh yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
big no-nos.
Same here.
So it was, I'm very grateful for the things that I learned growing up and the values that were instilled, but at the same time there was a lot of toxicity around.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. I do know. Touche to that. Grew up in Catholic high schools, Catholic grammar schools, elementary schools, all that. So it's just like when I got to a point where I can make my own decisions, and I feel like, and again, no shade to anyone that is extremely religious or have their religious views, but like being spiritual, I think it brings you a little bit closer, and I feel like it's there's a lot more like self-work that comes along with that. I feel like you learn a lot more about yourself. You learn a lot more about your emotions and how to like make things connect a little bit more logically than, sometimes in religion, of course. And I feel like a lot of people who say that they're spiritual, like they're just some of the like calmest, like intuitive individuals, because it takes a lot of self-practice, a lot of it. So I wanted to throw that question out there because I hear the two, and I know that there's a difference. So I'm like, let me see.
And I love what you said about the logic and our feelings. We'll get into that a little bit further down, but like really taking a hard look at what I was doing, who I was being. I then observing my surroundings, right? And in that, I realized that everyone that I worked with, as successful, right, as they like to say they are, everyone had something missing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was peace and balance. They saw success as, they like having having the house, the bank account, the wife, the car, the this, the that. But they were never at peace. They were never at peace. So that's when I started, working on, my certifications and like.
Oh, you were doing that while you were working still.
Yeah.
Smart girl.
Breath, breath work, wellness, all things that encompass wellness, mindfulness. And I took my skills that I learned in being in like the corporate world and coupled them with, like the mindfulness aspect of things.
Yeah.
And so now that's what I do. I help just your regular individual and also business owners who are looking for that balance, who are looking for that foundation of, I want to build a successful business, but I also want to have that peace, that balance that comes with practicing, things like meditation, yoga, doing your breath work, looking within, and that's when I slowly started to unveil and uncover my purpose.
I love that. And like you said, with business owners, entrepreneurs, even people, in certain positions, certain levels in corporate, it really does require for you to be able to find time to yourself.
Yes.
So usually people who are extremely passionate within their craft, within whatever it is that, they're doing as their career, that part is missing almost always. And like you said, like if I'm able to step back from this and like do whatever it is I need to keep peace at mind and to have some type of balance, like that matters. So I love that you're offering this type of like coaching and service, because that is exactly what us entrepreneurs need. Because it's a lot. It's hard. Life is hard. The shit that goes on all the time. So yeah, I love that you said that. I love that you're doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so, side note, me and Berenice actually met, and we haven't known each other, a couple months?
Maybe. Yeah.
So I think I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on the podcast before, but shout out to Coffee, Hip Hop, and Mental Health. I had to wear one of my shirts on the episode one day so you guys can see it. But it's owned by Christopher Lamarck, and he has built this organization. One part of it is it's a coffee shop, right? But the other part of it is it's an organization, a nonprofit that's focused around mental health and mainly giving free opportunities for therapy, for mental health services for the community. So if you guys, again, I've talked about them before, so definitely go check them out. But she comes to my Wednesday women's group therapy sessions. Extremely outspoken, not in like not in the bad way that people think that some outspoken people talk too much or something like that, but like just speaks very well, very positive. Not to say that because of, your recent life transitions that you should be a negative person. But quite often, and we're going to get into talking about it, people who have been faced with, some of the transitions that you've been faced with aren't, especially how fresh they are, for one. And two, like a lot of people just don't have the capability, don't have the capacity to be able to remain as like positive as you are. So I want to commend you for that. And that was one thing when we were thinking about these topics. I'm like, I really think Bernice could have a phenomenal conversation around this because I've sat in that room and have listened to you. And in my head, I'm like, well, shit, she needs to come up here and talk because I can learn some things from you. So I definitely want to commend you on that. Thank you for being open and willing to have this conversation. So I guess to start, if you could kind of like give us a little bit about your recent life transitions and how that is kind of affecting you currently, because you do have an amazing story to tell. So I definitely want to give you the floor to be able to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I want to start with first, I think the one that it's weighing more still till this day is the loss of my mother. And I really don't like to refer it as a loss, but she herself, transitioned. And it was so quick and so, like, not expecting what happened. I mean, it was within days. Yeah. And she was my, still is my best friend. And with that happening, I really had to look at it in a way where really sit down and find like, where's the blessing in this?
And that's so hard to do.
Yes.
That's so hard to do.
Where's the lesson? What do I have to? Because I, for a long time, I was really the guilt. The guilt was kicking in, and that comes, with grieving a loss. The guilt
what in particular did you like? What was the guilt towards? Like, was it like the time spent? If you don't mind me asking,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. Feel free. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Where did the guilt come from?
Not, she lived in Mexico, right? So not having her here, one, and every time that she would say like, "Come spend time with me," it was like work got in the way.
Yeah.
Or something, I was always like, "See, mommy, I'm gonna go see you, but work, but this, but that," and I really wish that I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I really wish that I would have listened, and I would have made her a priority rather than making my career or other things a priority.
Yeah. And I asked that too because and that's something that I had experienced with my aunt, with my grandmother. And I asked that because I'm like, I know that's that thought behind it. Because every time that happens with grief, like you said, or with the passing of a loved one, especially if it's unexpected, you always are like, I could have did this or I could have done that. So I just wanted to kind of ask that because it's something that it's hard not to do, right? But it's definitely something that I don't want you to like beat yourself up over because again, you were doing what needed to be done in the moment. As much as we want to like, I would drop everything and like go to my daughter's everything or, you know what I'm saying, answer every single question or sit with her and play every single game that she wants to. But sometimes I have to stop and mommy has to go back to work or when she's with her dad and she calls me and the conversations have to be short and quick. Because I'm like, well, mommy has to get back to work. I have to do X, Y, Z, or any of those instances. And in the cases with my grandmother and with my aunt who passed, same thing. Aunt inviting me out to like events at her house, or like if she goes out with the girls or a wine night or something like that. And me and my aunt were close in age. It was more like my sister. So it's like when that happened, immediately I'm like, damn. The night she was killed, she hit me up and was like, come over here if you want to. So, yeah, it was just like, so I hear that. I'm like, that guilt is very hard to get over, but I just want to, like, encourage you to, not let that hold you down too much.
Yeah. And it's taken a lot to get past it, and I have my moments.
Yeah,
I have my moments where I allow myself to feel that and feel my way through it. That's the only way that I get to process that feeling and just release it and not let it, just sit in it. And after her passing, a lot, I think that was a pivotal moment in my life because right after that, I really started taking a hard look at my life. The decisions I had made, the situations that I was, like the circumstances that I was in, and the stuff that I continuously was putting myself through or allowing for things to happen, and really making excuses or kind of putting it to the side to avoid feeling what I felt when I was thinking about those things.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, and within that, it was, it was like, that my like we can get into like my relationship, right? And that's that's the second like what is it, life transition?
Yeah. So with your relationship, did you, when your mother passed, was that before or after you all started to make your transition to divorce?
It was after.
It was after.
After. Okay. Yeah. And it took a lot. It really took a lot for us to sit down, and talk about that.
Yeah.
Because one thing that, and I know this is probably going to ruffle some feathers.
That's what we do here. We talk about things that matter, and sometimes the feathers get ruffled. That's okay.
Fuck some shit up. It was it is very non-traditional, the way that we're doing things.
Okay.
And I love that so much.
Yeah.
You know, I love that so much because, you know, he is, for one, like an African American male. And I'm saying this because in the Black and brown communities, it is very much a norm
Oh yeah.
for things like this, for situations
Yeah.
like these, to be chaotic.
Yep.
For, you know, 9 times out of 10, why the relationship ends is because the male did something.
It's infidelity. Let's speak on it. Hey, I mean, it is. It's infidelity. It's finances. I remember I had read like the top 5 when I was kind of surfing around this topic, and I'm pretty sure third came with like children or like family life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's the top 3: your finances,
Yeah.
infidelity, and then like family life, whether it be not getting along with one side of the family, you know, that shit can
Right.
ruin a relationship very easily. And it is unfortunate, but I mean, you are absolutely right. That's nothing to ruffle feathers about, you guys. Unfortunately, it's a statistic that, I mean, it's been around and it's something that we want to debunk, but, you know, I also feel like it's a lot of lack of knowledge, a lack of education when it comes to like the institution of marriage.
Yes.
People get married for the wrong reasons. I'm
Very
sorry,
much.
love is not enough. I'm not gonna marry you just because I love you. Like it has to be more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
It's,
I
you know,
agree.
it like to your point where you were saying it is not enough. It's a lot of the times, you know, the blissful moments and the honeymoon phase and, you know, marrying too soon, and really not looking at the big picture of what it really means, right? It's a partnership.
Yeah, it is. It is a business transaction, you
100%.
guys, and I hate to put it in those terms,
Yeah.
but it is like that's your life partner. Life is a business. Like you really have to be able to. And again, this is easier said than done, absolutely. But like you know, you just got to be able to find, or not find, but be able to connect with your person on a more like professional level when it comes to like dealing with your marriage. Like certain things have to be in place. Like we have to be on one accord, a certain understanding, or we're gonna have to compromise.
Yeah.
One of the two, or both. So no, it is. It is.
And within all of that, you know, I really want to offer this wisdom to anyone that is going through this. I'm not encouraging, you know, by any means, I'm not encouraging anyone to, you know, like go through the divorce process, especially when there's children involved. And that was one of the biggest things for me. Like I wanted to make it as peaceful and with like as much grace as possible, no matter what the reasons were.
Yeah.
And
that's a mature mindset to have.
And you know what, Ashley, it took every bit of me, and this is why I'm so grateful for the work, the mindfulness work that I've done, and the like my connection and my love for spirituality, because it took a lot of healing, you know, a lot of healing. Absolutely. And I say healing because, you know, healing is an ongoing thing. And it took a lot of me to be able to say, you know what, we're doing this, but we're going to do this in the most peaceful, most loving way. And being respectful, because I chose that man to be the father of my children. And I want my children to be able to still feel that, you know, like that loving connection and that nurturing side, no matter what is going on. And I feel like that if the majority of us, and I was saying, you know, if you're considering this, or if you feel like this is the path that you need to take, it is going to take a lot, because there is the rage, the resentment, the anger, because he did this and now I'm going to do whatever I can to make his life miserable. When in reality, if you really think of it, you are dragging your children right along with that man.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I would never in a million years do that to my children.
Yeah.
Never. Because of the fact of, knowing that that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives, and the decisions that they're going to make, the partners that they're going to choose. So I'm thinking already like way ahead, but it's the wisdom in with where the woman, and I'm saying this is the woman because a lot of the stuff that we're known for, the baby mama drama, and that is it carries so much weight, and so much hurt that I didn't want any of that for me. So I made it as loving and as peaceful as possible, and creating, and that in turn, it was so beautiful to see him step into that and take ownership and responsibility, and come into this situation where with so much vulnerability and willingness to work, and willingness to grow from this, right? And not, beating him down even more so, because I know that a lot of the things that happened were not, the choices that were made came from trauma.
From his choices?
Yes.
Okay.
Came from trauma, came from, how he was raised, what he was taught, what he was surrounded with.
Okay.
Right? And I would be a fraud if I stood here and I said, I'm all wellness, I'm about all spirituality and mindfulness, and I can't keep that in my household. I can't create the space, the safety in my own household for the father of my children to come in and say, you know what, we can do this. Right? So it took a lot. I'm not going to say it was very, very difficult to do that, but it is very much possible. Especially in our communities, the Black and brown communities. Our men need that. Our men are hurting, and it is their responsibility first and foremost to want to do the work, but also as the mother of their children, it is our responsibility to also set aside some of our pride
to help them through that.
It doesn't mean that you have to stay. It doesn't mean that you have to continue to put up with things that you don't deserve, right? But it is very much, for me, it felt so good to be able to create that space for him. And say, you know what? I love you, and nothing's going to change that. Because that's just who I am. I'm that to my core, and I don't give a fuck what you do. I'm not going to change who I am just because of what you did.
And like you said too, like I feel that just because what you did to me as my spouse, as my husband, that doesn't mean that you can't be a good father. And that doesn't mean that I don't want you to be a good father. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you weren't the best husband. You're not a good husband. Hell, you probably weren't a good person. But, like, I need you to be a good father to those boys in there. So it's like you do have to have that mature mindset to be like, okay. And not even necessarily saying I forgive you. The forgiveness will come at some point. But no, hell no, I don't forgive you. I'm upset at you. I am pissed off at you. But... I need you to be this man for our children. That's more important because at the end of the day, and of course this is speaking more so towards women who have children, right? Because if you ain't got no kids, no ties, I don't give a goddamn if it's a little baby puppy, let that man go, cut his ass off. You don't ever have to speak to him ever again. Okay, it is not, at that point, it is not your obligation to walk him and talk him through shit. No, I don't got nothing else to do with you. Goodbye, see you later. Hopefully the next girl could fix you, but that's not my problem.
Yes.
And as a co-parent. It's also not your problem. However, I do think it's a bit more of priority for you to be able to navigate that relationship. Because I mean, I do it with me and my daughter's dad. That fucked me up. I could not get that out. I don't know why I was messing that up so hard. But when we got through our shit, like, it was really important for me to be like, okay, we have this child together. We're family. You know what I'm saying? And nothing is going to change that. So we need to figure out how we need to communicate effectively, especially in front of her and around her. But most definitely when, like, either of us are not in the room.
Because she's going to turn into a woman.
Literally. So it's like, I need you to get it together. I myself had some toxic traits that I had to kind of pull out and, like, learn how to not reference him in certain ways, you know, when I'm speaking to her, or, like, not putting any bad words into my mouth when it comes to her father. Because, again, I don't want you growing up thinking that he, you know, is a bad person to you, because he's not. He's a great father. So that's, yeah. And when you talk about your divorce, was it, I'm thinking of, like, timeline. Was it around the time that you first had the kids, and it was, like, during the pandemic? Like, what was the connection there, or if any connection there, to you wanting to kind of step away from your job? And then the divorce happened, or did the divorce happen and you were like, look, I'm stepping away from this job? How did that happen for you?
No, this transition, like the divorce is very fresh as well. You know, so it's, I slowly stepped away from my job in 2020. The talks about the separation only started last year.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, and we did, obviously the stuff came prior to that, and we did everything that we could, right? The
when you say stuff, was it infidelity then that you tried to kind of work through?
Yes, yeah. And we did the therapies, we did, you know, like, even, like, healing events where we went to, you know, like the wellness events, I meant. Where we really wanted to kind of let go of that, what was, you know, that trauma. But, you know, unfortunately, it didn't work out, you know, and that's okay.
And that is okay. People don't talk about that part of it. Like,
okay.
People see the divorce and they just think of that part of it. Like, oh, you guys were married, you got divorced, it's a bad thing, it's taboo. But it's like, you guys don't see the behind the scenes where we worked through all of this shit. We tried and it did not work. What do I do then? Stay while it's not working, while we know it's not working? Like, no.
And you know what, to touch on that, like you said something key right now, like we did very much everything in our power to keep it between us.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, as you should. I mean, it's your, you know, it's your, like, marriage, but also,
you know, to keep it between us, because we did not want, you know, outside noises to affect our process.
Like that decision making.
Yeah. And
you know, like, work it out. Just work it out. Just do what you gotta do.
And especially with, you know, and I heard that from, you know, from my side of, like, my aunts, you know, when they would get a little whiff of what, you know, what was going on. Mija, are you okay? Sí, tía, we're okay. Well, look, I'm just gonna say this. You have to stay. You know, especially in the dynamic, like the dynamic of the women in on my mom's side of the family. Does not matter what he does, you stay. And I don't believe that.
Yeah. How were you able to get over that hump of, like, in a sense, like, being like a disappointment or being looked at a certain way from your family and, like, within your culture, to just being like, I'm not dealing with this?
You know, because of all the conversations I had with my mom prior to even making that decision.
Okay. So your mom was more supportive than,
absolutely, 100%.
That's good.
Absolutely, 100%. Like, she was very much different. You know, I really want to point to the fact that, you know, my mom stayed with my dad for, you know, that was from the time she got married until the time she passed. But I saw her sacrifice a lot of who she was, not necessarily because that who she wanted to be with, but because of the love for us.
Yeah.
Like, she was not going to, we used to always tell her, let's go.
Yeah.
Right? But she wasn't going to do that. She's like, no, this is in her mind. And, I can't judge anyone for doing that.
Yeah, because, you also don't know who she had in her corner either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
your grandmother, for instance, could have been doing what your aunts were doing. It's like, well, if my mom's telling me this, like, especially if my mom was married, like, this is just all I know.
Yeah.
And
that's all they knew.
Yeah.
That's all they knew. So it's like, in having conversations with her, she very much said, you do not have to do what I did. Absolutely
That's
not.
good.
So I learned that from her. And her support and her conversations, her wisdom was beyond this world.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for that.
And she passed during the transition of your divorce?
No.
Before?
After. Yeah. So no.
I'm trying to build a timeline. I know these answers. I'm trying to build a timeline.
So she passed January of 2022.
Okay.
The process of my separation did not start until the end of 2022.
Okay.
So it took a while, after that.
You were grieving. It's a lot going on.
It was
too.
Yes.
And I feel that in that instance, was there ever a thought in your head where it's like, okay, I'm grieving, I lost my mom, like, let me try to mend this a little bit more with, like, let me lean on him more. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's hard to not do.
Yeah, and because of that, I felt like I did not have the space or the time to grieve her properly.
Yeah.
And that was something that it was causing some friction and some resentment between him and I. And I just, I even had to let that go, because it was not, I don't blame him.
And that's good that you don't.
That was my
I don't
process.
Know if I could. I'd be like, fuck you did this. It's your fault, I'm angry. Because it's so hard not to, So I'm always going to commend you for that. Because, honey, the time that you put in, time, money, the energy, it's like, for you to do that. One simple, it's real easy to not do that, sir. So,
yes.
But yes, you being able to, not blame him.
Yeah. And you know what else really, like, I really want to say this, like, it has taken a lot to get to where I am and who I am today. But it really took, like, God just shaking the shit out of me and severing all the, like, thought patterns and belief systems that I had to be able to do that. It was a lot of loss. And for some time, because
in a short period of time, too.
Very, it was
less than a year.
Yeah, it was my mother. It was my life partner. The father of my children. It was friends.
Yeah.
That till this day I haven't heard from. I got a text saying, "I'm so sorry for your loss," and people that I thought were going to be there kind of ran for the hills. And again, I'm not judging, and I don't blame him. Like, that's okay. I had to really be okay with life and God stripping me of everything that I thought was part of my life, to really see clear why I'm here, and have to be okay with that. And that brought so much peace and so much clarity and created so much more space to be able to be doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that right there is what keeps me grateful. It keeps me focused. In knowing that, yes, all of that I thought was the end all be all was not. Because, we all like to say, I trust you, God, I trust you. But do we really? Like, we dip our toe into that trust rather than just surrendering.
Fully doing it,
just really surrendering, because we're human beings. We like to be in control of our own things. And we like to be in control of who, what businesses we do, who we marry, our everything.
We have a Pinterest board for everything. I know I do. I'm like, when this process happens, from dinner to outfits to like, honey, Ashley got to be in control. And life is teaching me, like, man, you gotta let that shit go.
When you
have to.
Yeah, when you learn to fully trust the process, and just continue doing what you're doing, and just being.
Yep.
Just being. Yep. That's it. Things are gonna happen naturally, and the happiness and the joy and everything that you desire, it's gonna come with it.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Yeah.
But I also think that, like, the environment that you're shaping for your boys, like through the process of trying to create a better environment to communicate with their father and kind of being a supportive individual for him, through his process as well, right? And then it's like your mother passed, you're dealing with grieving. So there's a lot, like we said, in a very short period of time. But being able to create an environment for them where they're able to be expressive and to hopefully unwrite what, the type of husband or spouse or individual that their father was, and hoping that, you can change that for them. Because they're going to grow up one day, they're going to be boyfriends, they're going to be husbands. So them being able to, and I know you were asking the question of like the why, or like, what is this going to teach me? And I do think that like you're building a really good environment for them to be good men. Would you agree?
Yes. Yeah. And that is, as their mother, that is my number one priority. Not only to be, great men in this world, but to be great leaders.
Oh yeah.
Not only
I don't think men are taught to like lead for real. Like honestly, I don't think they're really taught like how to lead. They're just told to be leaders. But I don't think that they get really good examples on how to be that.
Because as mothers, we want to do everything for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true.
That those are our babies.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I refuse to kind of what is this word? ¿Cómo se dice?
What is it? Wait, what was it?
¿Cómo se dice?
How do you say? That's the very few things I remember in Spanish. Like, ¿cómo se dice happy? Insert word here.
Enabling them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That is not one thing that I want to do. I want to very much, for them to be their own leaders. Have that foundation for them, and in creating like the environment for them. Obviously, like seeing their father as their primary, their primary leader.
Yeah.
That's the person that they look to. As the example of what a man, is supposed to look like, what he's supposed to do in this world. And me doing, my putting in my seeds in them and nurturing those seeds. It's been very challenging, especially with, me like not having an abundance of support, and creating that around that. It is also very, very important. So they have that sense of community.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sense of like friendships and family-oriented household, even though, I don't have my family here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But again, there's people that are becoming that.
She's pointing to her friend in the background. Yes, friend.
That are becoming that, such strong links and examples of, what it really means to open up yourself to those possibilities. Because we very much, when we have those relationships, long-term relationships, long-term friendships, it is like, well, you know what? If she did that to me, whatever, you give up on opening the door for something or someone to ever come in to be able to do that again. And, that's that for me, it was, that's a chapter, and I'm ready for this next chapter. I'm ready for this. I'm excited. I'm really, really looking forward to what these next years are going to look like. I always, ever since I was in high school, I remember this. I was like, by 45. So I have 5 years.
Your time limit.
By 45, like I'm gonna be free. Like yes, multiple businesses, many millions.
Yes, let's manifest that.
You know,
Me too.
And having like my children see the world. I have nothing against the school system. I have nothing against like the traditional way of teaching your children. But I want my children to see this world, to experience it, to learn. And
they'll become different kids for sure when you're able to, experience
absolutely
the world in its entirety. Right? Like not just being stuck or, restricted to your environment or your culture. You know what I'm saying? I definitely agree with that. And that's a goal for me too as a mom.
So breaking those cycles of, this is what it looks like. You go to school, you get a degree, you get a job, you retire when you're tired.
When you're tired, okay?
And then you have a little bit of time to enjoy life. Like that's not what I want to teach. That's not, what I want to instill in my children. So definitely creating these new relationships, these new environments, being very intentional of who I'm allowing in, that have those same alignments, to be able to,
That's that. Because would you say that, like now you have a clearer mindset to be able to be very strategic about who comes in and out of your life, right? Whether that be friendships, dating, business partners, whomever. Would you say that before you all were married, were there any like red flags that you like ignored?
Girl.
Or, like, did the red flags look like roller coasters that you were just like, I'm gonna ride this ride, honey. I'm tall enough. I'm gonna go. It looks scary, but I'm still gonna fucking do it. Yeah.
Very much. Very much. But I was so the only word that's coming to mind right now is thirsty.
She said I was thirsty. He was fine. Like he looked great on the outside. And that, man, because if you think about it when it comes to relationships, even just in friendships too, like you see people and you judge them immediately off of their appearance. And it's like in the first couple of seconds of me seeing you, I know if I'm like you. I know, all of that. I'm just like, I want to talk to this guy. And then when we have to be with them, and then you're getting to their core and you're breaking down, it's like the banana peel, you're breaking down the layers, and it's like, it's a rotten ass banana underneath that peel. So yeah.
And you know what? Like I really have to say, like the part of me that was not healed yet was very much, okay, I can deal with this. I can deal with this. Like,
but you ain't got to.
And I see it, but I'm gonna fix it.
We as women do that so much. It's like we date. I'm pretty sure this is a quote, so I'm sorry if I took your quote, but it's like we date potential always, whereas men date exactly what is in front of them, and we need to start doing that. It's like, we're trying to nurture. We're trying to understand. It's like, okay, cool. You have ABC obviously up front and center going on with you, but it's okay. When he dates me, though,
and
he hasn't dated me, though.
and I was very much, a part of me still is, but back then it was very, like, I was hardcore, very much like an alpha female. I was like, baby, you don't got it. I do. And it's like, no, I don't want to got it anymore. I ain't got it.
And if I do, I ain't got it sometimes. I'm sorry. And me and my friend were talking about this before. And she was saying with her husband that she walked into their marriage in the beginning like that. She's like, I'm fixing everything for him because I'm his wife, I'm his partner, I'm supposed to. And she's like, I had to learn that I needed to allow him to make mistakes in front of me and at the very least attempt to fix them. Like, let me see you sweat a little bit before I come in and rescue you. Because she's like, I'm enabling him to just be like, whatever, my wife got it. I don't have to worry about it. And granted, for most things, if there's like a life or death situation, say your husband is the sole financial provider and some shit happens, of course he should be able to lean on you and be like, my wife got it. But like, she was just saying like everyday stuff. Like, I'm just really enabling this man. And then getting mad when he doesn't plan date night. Well, hell, I didn't plan date night the last 10 years and have just told him to show up. and swipe the card. Like, I'm not requiring him to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, that's something that us, when we do it a lot, we're nurturers. It's hard not to.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you have kids, it's like, I don't have time to like wait on you. Like, I need XYZ, we need ABC right now, so I'm just gonna do it. When it's like, no, sit back a little bit.
Yeah.
Sit back and let the shit happen. It's okay to be a damsel in distress.
Yes. Yes.
For a little bit. It's okay. Give yourself some breaks. Walk in your soft girl era.
I am loving that so much. I am loving it.
Yeah.
I feel like now finally I have a hold of that, and it feels beautiful. And I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
The hard way that was the only way that I was going to be able to attract that divine masculine, like that man, that like protector, provider, like that strong, like sense of like security into my life. That was the only way.
You gotta let them lead. You gotta let them.
Yes.
Here's the steering wheel. You let me see what you can do.
Let them lead, please.
Yeah.
Yes. That's key.
Yeah,
That's huge.
I agree to that. So if we're thinking, so we're in November, right? Oh my God, we're in November. Ugh. Like, I could have swore, and even with the podcast, I'm like, I started this in January. How the hell?
It's November.
Has it been that long that's crazy to me. And granted, it's been a year, honestly, for me of filming. I started filming back in November, every other weekend. And I took maybe a month off. So I've been consistently filming. Like, this has been my job it's been a year, you guys.
I see you, girl.
I have my podcast job anniversary. But yeah, so with November, and I know you said that your mom passed at the end of the year. Like, was it around the holidays last year?
No, it was January of 2022.
Oh, it was in the beginning. Okay,
Yeah.
The divorce had began at the end of last year.
Last
right?
year,
Yeah. So I'm thinking, like, we're in November. Thanksgiving is around the corner. And I think this is something we had talked about. You might have missed that session. We were talking about the holidays and seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah, I missed it.
We're going to have a part 2 because that one was good too, along with anger. That anger session. Y'all, we had a session about anger, and honey, we were angry. And we were validated, and that was okay. So around the holidays, when it comes to like loss and grieving, both, relationships, friendships, your mom, how does that look for you with the boys, being able to like co-parent around the holidays?
This will be, co-parenting has not been challenging at all.
Okay, that's good.
It's been a smooth process. Like it's
you
beautiful.
have it in your head too that like I'm not with the bullshit.
Very much intentional about that.
Yeah, that's good.
Again, because I want to make it as easy for not only for them but for us as well. We deserve that.
Yeah,
we very much deserve that.
You guys have been through enough. It's
yes.
like, I don't want to complicate
this. So it's been, it's been great. Okay. It's been, it's given us the space to do like our own thing on the days that, I have the babies with me, and, he goes on and do his thing, whatever like, he wants to do. Like, he has his time to be with self.
Good.
And
as you both should have that. That's important.
Yeah.
And you should want that for your co-parent for sure. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't have that, you're not going to show up as a good parent to that kid. Like, you're just not.
Yeah, exactly. You need to recharge, especially when you're going through what we've been through. Yeah. You need those times to be with, kind of process what you're going through in your own individual self. Yeah. And with the holidays approaching, I'm really looking forward to them, honestly. Yeah. I'm very excited for them, because I don't feel right now, because everything is very recent. Not a lot is going to change.
Okay. That's
right.
Good.
However, with not having still like my mom, that is the one thing that I miss so much. And it's something that I'm still like learning to live with. So that piece, because in my household before, like when they were here, before they moved to Mexico, big parties, food.
I was gonna ask you too.
Tequila, mezcal, the music, like it was beautiful. And now it's just like me and my babies.
Yeah. Are you like more of like, I'm gonna host the holidays, or am I like, no, I'm gonna get cute and go show up with the kids somewhere else? Or does it
I'm gonna get
differ?
cute.
You said I'm gonna get cute. I was trying to decide, and I think me and like my family were like thinking of different ideas. Last year, my mom, aunt, a couple other family members, they like did a cruise on Thanksgiving. So like in my head, I was salty. I'm like, you're supposed to be home, and like she's like, girl, we are on vacation. So maybe we might, think about doing something around the holidays again. But I'm definitely more of the, I want to get cute and just show up.
Yeah.
I'll bring a dish. What's your like go to Thanksgiving dish?
I love desserts.
Okay, that's how my boyfriend is. He likes dessert. I can't bake to save
I
my
love
life.
desserts. So I can make, all sorts of desserts, but my favorite to make is flan.
Ooh.
Like I love flan. So I make that and also
So I'm
like
coming over for Thanksgiving.
yes.
To get some flan.
Pecan pie, sweet
nice.
potatoes, like I love all of that stuff.
Like a mean sweet potato.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yams.
Or yes, yams.
Candy yams, sweet potatoes, whatever you want to call them, they're goddamn good. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that, and like building these new memories with the boys. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. And I keep that at the forefront always. Yeah.
And I think you do a really good job at that. I think that's one thing that a lot of people that are watching this who are either going through the process, whether it be the thought process, because that's a grieving process in itself, when you're just thinking about this might be the end of this relationship, this might be the end of our marriage. Like you have to grieve, silently, and then it becomes outward. But one thing, like I said, that I think a lot of people can learn from you is like taking that mature standpoint and being able to like truly and honestly like put your kids first. Because I think a lot of what you're deciding to do when it comes to dealing with this process is like, I want this to be an okay process for them. I want this to be a happy, open, and effective place to communicate for them. I want them to see the positive. Because I think that's one thing my parents kind of did too. It was a little shaky as well, but I think the one thing that I had learned, because I saw my parents, they were married, they were divorced, they both remarried. My dad got divorced and remarried. Like, so I've seen that situation a couple times, and it like makes me feel a little bit more comfortable if I'm ever in a situation where I'm like, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Nobody plans for divorce,
right.
Absolutely
Exactly.
not. But like, it's okay, especially if you have done everything that it is that you both could possibly comprehend or have the capacity to do. If you did it and it's still not working, okay, some people grow apart, and some things are unforgivable. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, what do they say? Till death do us part. But like that action was like death. So
I ain't
we
gonna
must
die
part.
for you.
So, but yeah, I appreciate this conversation with you. Oh, and the one thing I wanted to end on, because I know we touched on a bunch of different lessons throughout the process, but what would you say is like the one thing that you have learned from your divorce that has either contributed to like your relationship with your sons or like your relationship with yourself, or both?
How to love myself, truly, with intention, how to love myself.
With intention.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Because I didn't before.
Yeah. And that's okay.
And
We
it
have to
shows,
learn.
it showed.
Yeah.
It definitely showed in my decisions. So now it's like, I really love myself and like the relationship that I have with me, and in the ways that I'm showing that to myself. Yeah.
To yourself.
Yes.
Because it's easy to just tell everybody else how to love you, or how to love other people, or to love other people. But when you actually sit there and look at yourself in the mirror, it's like, okay, do I love me?
Yes.
So
yeah,
I think you love you.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Cheers, girl.
So what did I tell you? It was gonna go by so quick.
Yes.
I don't even realize how long we were sitting here. I'm like, damn. And we can literally go on for more. But thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me. This was a blast.
Absolutely. Good. Do you feel a little bit better? She was a little nervous walking in the door. You feel better?
Yes.
Good. I'm happy you
I
did.
want to leave now.
You said what happened?
I want to leave now.
The couch is comfortable.
Very.
It's very comfortable. I mean, you could. I got another family. You want to chill? Your friend's like, no, baby, we gotta go. Well, thank you guys for joining us for yet another episode of the 312 podcast. I hope that you all enjoyed this. And if anything, I hope that you can take away from this conversation is to live life with intention.
Yes.
And love you. All parts of you, your flaws and all. Like, you are you. And you, if you can't feel yourself or to give yourself the appreciation that you need, you can't really do that for other people. So,
absolutely.
love you, y'all. Until next time. And don't forget, again, comment, like, subscribe, and make sure that you guys tune in every other week to have another good episode, another wholesome conversation to have with us here on this couch. So, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Until next time. Yeah. Bye.